The guy is worth $1 trillion based on companies that don't really do a whole lot of profit and in some cases are not even growing. OpenAI's GPT, Anthropic's Claude, these are being used by the US military. Grok, according to the most recent reports, is not being used inside the US government almost at all. That $3.8 billion in profit compared to that $1.5 trillion market cap is actually rather minuscule. In essence, the Elon Musk phenomenon is an image, status, and insecurity thing. Well, it's finally happened. After months and months of anticipation, SpaceX, Elon Musk's space exploration company, has finally gone public, being oversubscribed and nabbing a $2.2 trillion valuation in the market, bringing Elon Musk's total net worth to $1.1 trillion, making Elon the world's first ever trillionaire. Now, Elon Musk being very rich is nothing new. He's been the richest man in the world for a very long time, and people expected him to become a trillionaire after the SpaceX IPO because even before it went public, they were expecting the company to go for about $1.7 trillion in market cap, which would have made Musk worth about $1 trillion. It actually ended up nabbing a $2.2 trillion market cap, which gave Elon Musk a $1.1 trillion net worth. But there's something a little bit strange, a little bit suspicious about this whole thing, and I want to explore that in some detail in this video. Now, it's no secret that there are many rich people in the world. Some of them very, very, very rich. A lot of them are in the technology sector. You have, for example, Mark Zuckerberg, CEO of Facebook. His company does about $70 billion a year in profit, and he's worth $220 billion. You've also got Jensen Huang of NVIDIA. His company does some $159 billion a year in profit, and he's worth about $185 billion. And finally, you got Pony Ma, the third richest man in China and founder of Tencent. His company does about $35 billion a year in profit, and he is worth $45 billion. These guys run companies that do massive amounts of profit, billions and billions of dollars a year in profit. They own large percentages of these companies that generate profit that could be used to pay dividends to enrich shareholders or do buybacks. And as a result of these large ownership stakes in these ultra-profitable companies, they have very high net worths. When we look at Elon Musk, however, the situation is a little bit different. If we turn over to Seeking Alpha here, we see that in the trailing 12-month period, Elon Musk's company Tesla generated $3.9 billion in profit. That's a decent amount of profit, right? Certainly some economic value is being generated here. But the economic value being generated relative to the size of the company is actually rather minuscule. Tesla is a $1 trillion company. Specifically, according to Seeking Alpha, it has a $1.5 trillion market cap. That $3.8 billion in profit compared to that $1.5 trillion market cap, a market cap is the value of all the shares combined. Basically, what the company is worth is minuscule. According to Seeking Alpha's valuation page, Tesla has a 220 times PE ratio. That means if the company doesn't grow, it will take 220 years for that company to pay back an investor who is buying the stock today. Now, sometimes companies can have high valuations because they're growing rapidly and that profit number is going to increase over time, justifying the high multiple. But if we look at Tesla's case, that's not actually what's happening. Tesla's earnings actually declined 38% in the trailing 12-month period. Again, going back to financials, we see that in 2024, the company earned $7 billion, and in the trailing 12-month period, that is the last 12 months, it earned $3.9 billion. And on the revenue front, it's not doing all that much better. The revenue is growing, but it's not growing rapidly. However, the margins are going smaller and smaller and smaller because of competition from Chinese electric vehicle makers that are giving Tesla a savage run for its money, selling equivalently good cars for much lower prices, and basically Tesla's earnings just keep going down. If you ignored the stock market and you were to invest in Tesla today, hoping to just get your money back in dividends, that would not happen. Now let's turn to SpaceX, because this is the one that most of Elon Musk's net worth is based on. A recent slide deck showed that it ran a $4.9 billion loss. Third-party sources report negative net income of negative $8.7 billion, the data being shown on SpaceX's website apparently being slightly outdated. Now, according to some things I've read online, it actually had been profitable at certain points in the past. Starlink, apparently viewed as a unit on its own, is actually profitable, and it had $11.4 billion in revenue, up 50% last year. However, SpaceX recently merged with XAI, a cash-burning AI company. XAI is the company that runs Grok. Grok is the AI model that is included in X, formerly known as Twitter. Grok's main use cases are twofold. One, generating funny images, and two, asking it questions on Twitter, such as, for example, is this poster's claim accurate? OpenAI's GPT, Anthropic's Claude, these are being used by the U.S. military. They are getting hundreds of millions of dollars thrown at them for this. Grok, according to the most recent reports, is not being used inside the U.S. government almost at all. It's an also-ran AI model. So the question you have to ask yourself is, why are all these rich billionaires, why are all these retail investors, why are all these Wall Street firms throwing so much money at Elon Musk when there are so many other tech companies doing way more profit, way more growth, and with way better future prospects? The answer, I think, is cultural. It has to do with the cultural figure that Elon Musk strikes and the emotional reaction that it evokes in a certain type of person. Elon Musk is what I would call a great white hope of the technology sector. He has the appearance of a white, charismatic alpha male that people can put a lot of faith in, specifically white boomers who maybe are getting a little bit uncomfortable about how much the Chinese, Indians, and other minorities are dominating the technology sector, not only in China and India, but in the United States itself. If you look at any average Silicon Valley company, you will see that it is absolutely dominated by foreigners. The CEOs, 80% of them, are Indian. All of the top AI researchers, including the ones getting $100 million signing bonuses, are Chinese. And on top of that, there are Chinese AI researchers in China creating models like DeepSeek and Qwen that are basically comparable to US models at a tiny fraction of the price. A country's technology sector is a very important part of its national prestige, and furthermore, having a great technology sector is a big factor in having a great military. AI is a huge factor in how militaries run these days. And that AI is increasingly being run by, Chinese, Indians, other types of foreigners who make the average white boomer, your average Mark Andreessen type, a little bit uncomfortable. What I think is happening is that white boomers are seeing Chinese and Indian people dominating the technology sector, the most valuable sector in the world, and when they see this, it makes them feel a little bit threatened. It makes them feel like white people are just declining a little bit in the world, and it has them saying things like, oh no, soon the Chinese and the Indians will eat our lunch. Just look at how they run all the tech companies, not only in their own countries, but in our countries. Soon the entire military-industrial complex will depend on Chinese and Indian labor, and then we're screwed. Now, these Chinese and Indian-run companies are quite successful, and they are American, and they do contribute a lot to America in terms of GDP, in terms of military hardware, in terms of prestige. They're profitable, they're growing, they're trusted by the US government, and so on. But a lot of white boomers, I think, want to see white faces running these companies, and for the most part, they aren't. And the more time passes, the more they aren't. Here you find Elon Musk. He's a white man. He's got a bit of an alpha male sort of persona. He's a Republican. He's not too sensitive about women and minorities. He's a free speecher. He has kind of that good old white boy sort of attitude about him. And this, I think, makes a lot of white guys feel comfortable giving money to him, even though his companies are not really doing that well financially. So the whole Elon Musk saga is a very interesting thing. The guy is worth $1 trillion based on companies that don't really do a whole lot of profit and in some cases are not even growing. Tesla's earnings are shrinking, SpaceX is unprofitable, and his other companies, well, they don't even do anything that anybody knows about. So what is this all about, really? Are the people investing money in Tesla and SpaceX and the others really economic, rational actors making rational decisions? I would say no. I would say that, in essence, the Elon Musk phenomenon is an image, status, and insecurity thing. You know, men, when they see women looking at other women who are beautiful and glamorous and then saying, oh, I would like to look like her, they often roll their eyes and say, oh, chicks, right? But the Elon Musk thing really is the same thing. They see Elon Musk, this big, swaggering alpha male who looks so cool and looks like he's in charge and looks like he's doing big things and looks like he's a leader, and they think, there's someone I'd like to be like. There's a Chad. There's a kind of man that a man really should be. And that's why they throw so much money at him. It's not that his companies are so great. Going by profit, they really are not. But he does have the look. He's sort of the male equivalent of what we derisively call a princess. A glamorous person who gets a lot of attention and money simply because of the image they project in society. None of this is to say that Elon Musk has no legitimate accomplishments. He did kickstart the EV thing, and his purchase of Twitter improved the state of free speech in the United States considerably. But is any of this worth trillions of dollars? I think not. I think that Elon Musk companies are overvalued, and I think Elon as a man is overrated. He is a male princess.